Hello, welcome back or welcome to my channel. My name is Allison Ramirez, Christian author, editor, and content creator. Joining me today is my pug puppy Leo. At the time of this video, he's 7 months old, and you can see he's wearing his cute Christmas sweater. But today I wanted to walk you through my 2022 author bullet journal. What this is a journal that just includes a lot of my goals and hopes and ambitions in terms of my writing and my books and my editing projects for 2022. So I thought we'd go ahead and walk along together through that book. As you can see, this is the front of my bullet journal. Right now, it's just a plain cover. I may add a sticker later on, but this is just $10 from Amazon. There's lots of different colors. Once we open it up here, on the first page, you can just see I have the year, the name of the journal, my name, a little flower decal. And then the first official page is my word of the year. I picked the word gratitude, and this word is just a reminder of a virtue that I'd like to focus on for the year, just to remember my blessings and just to be grateful for each and every little accomplishment that I have. So I'd highly recommend you pick a word, or it can be more than one word, to just kind of be your mantra and your motivation that sticks with you throughout the year. So I have selected gratitude. As I mentioned at the start of the video, I am a Christian author, so my journal wouldn't be complete without a couple pages dedicated to some scripture passages to encourage and motivate me. I only have one so far. It's from 1 Corinthians 10:13, reading, "He is faithful and will not let you be tested beyond your strength, but with the trial he will provide a way out so that you will be able to bear it." In other words, this verse just reminds me to have strength during the hard times and to know that there will always be a way for me to persevere and work through any challenges that come my way. So hopefully I'll add more verses as the year goes on, but this is what I have currently. Okay, moving right along to my first set of goals. These are all my goals that have to do with my books. So I have written one book to date. This is a devotional journal called Breathe Deeply, The Joyful Mysteries of the Rosary as Invitations to Peace. It's got a cute blue cover with lilies on the front. That's the back of it. But I published this book in October of 2021, and so it has only been out for a couple months, but on the right-hand side, you can see my goals for my sales. So at the time I wrote this journal, I had sold 30 copies of the book. Since then, I've moved up to 40. You can see I have a total amount of goals of 100. Obviously, if I can sell more than that, that would be great. But I do work a full-time job as a faith formation coordinator at a local church, so I don't have a whole lot of time to devote to marketing and promoting my book. But if I could sell 100 copies by the end of 2022, that would be really great in terms of sales and just getting my book out to more readers. So on these next two pages, I'm going to be showing you a little bit of a sneak peek because these are the two books that I am trying to publish in 2022. So when you turn the page, you'll get to see a few spoilers on those ideas that I have. Okay, on the left-hand side here, we have a book that's actually a continuation of this series. So if you're not familiar, in the Catholic tradition, the Rosary has 4 sets of mysteries. There are the joyful, which is what this book is about. There's also the glorious, luminous, and sorrowful mysteries. So at the end, I'd like to have a total of 4 books in this series, one dedicated to each of those Rosary mysteries. I won't give away which mystery I'm working on currently, but it's either going to be the luminous, sorrowful, or glorious. So this is my nonfiction book I'm working on for 2022. I won't go through all these check boxes, but these are just some of the larger components of publishing a book that I can check off as I go along, such as writing the first draft, working on other drafts, looking for beta readers or critique partners to review my book, finding an editor, cover designer, doing last minute proofreading, and working on the interior content of the book. So each time I accomplish one of these elements, I'll just cross it off in my journal. And then I have a pretty broad release date of April through October of next year, just because I don't know exactly when I'll get through all these steps and have my book ready to publish. But this is the generic time frame that I'd like to hopefully publish the second book in my nonfiction Rosary series. Moving on now to the right-hand side of the page, this is my book goal for my Christian fantasy book. I majored in English creative writing, but I haven't actually written any fiction pieces yet. So I'm super excited to be working on this book. These steps are identical to what's on the left-hand side. I'm hoping to release this book in maybe September or the end of 2022, giving myself a little bit more time just because since it is a fiction book and I haven't published fiction before, I'm anticipating needing to spend a lot more time on editing and revising and fixing a lot of mistakes or errors in the book. But I'm super excited for this book. And then I may or may not also work on a sequel, just depends, but this will be geared most likely towards young adults, and it will be a Christian fantasy. Moving on now from my book goals to my author platform goals. If you are an author who publishes books, it's really important to have a platform. In other words, this is a presence on social media, a website, just a way for people in the world to learn about what you're doing, to be inspired by what you're doing, and to be motivated and encouraged to support you and your work. So I have picked on the right hand side Instagram as one of my platforms that I'll be using to promote myself and my work. You'll see that I only have 100 followers currently, and I'm only hoping to have 300 by the end of 2022. These might seem like small numbers, but before 2021 I didn't even have an Instagram account, and so I'm really starting from the bottom and just working my way up. And I'm not super social media savvy, and so I've been learning a lot, and to me 300 followers would be a lot. So I'm really just comparing my goals against myself, not trying to compare myself to other people. I think that's really important when you're setting goals, to just try to be the best that you can be for yourself and not be too concerned with what other people are doing and trying to compare to them. The bottom part of the page are just my post goals. I posted 100 so far, and I'd like to do 100 posts in 2022 just to show that I'm active on this platform. I also post on Facebook as well. That's another platform that I'll be using. But these are just social media ways to connect with the world. Okay, moving along to my newsletter. As I mentioned, when you have a website, you can have a little box on your website that people can put their email address into to sign up for your newsletter. And you can send monthly updates, more detailed information, links to your subscribers to just keep them in the loop on what you're working on. I have 10 subscribers and I'd like to get to 50 for 2022. Again, small numbers, but this is all new to me. I really only began this journey of being an author in the past 9 months. So small goals and just hoping to gain slowly a platform in the coming years. Bottom half of this page is just my goal to publish 1 newsletter a month for a total of 12 in the year. I've only published 1 so far, so just small growth is what I'm hoping for. On the right hand side, you'll see my goals for YouTube. I started my channel in April of 2021, so it's only been about 8 months or so, and a couple of those months I really didn't post much, so I only have 30 subscribers, and I'm hoping to double that to 60 by the end of 2022. I'm also hoping to publish bi-weekly, so 2 videos a month, 1 every other week I think would be pretty doable, for a total of publishing about 25 videos in 2022, and I have published 13 roughly so far. So these are my primary author platform goals. Now we're moving on from my author platform goals to my content creation goals. A cool thing about being an author is that you have the option, obviously, to write and publish your books, but several people that I follow on YouTube, they're really great about giving back to the larger writing community. So they like to create, as you can see on the right-hand side here, what I like to call author resources. So these are digital downloads, these are helpful links, helpful books, just resources that they have maybe on their website or they send in their newsletter to their subscribers to help them help other people that are just starting out on the writing journey. And so I've created 1 resource to date, which is just a compilation of all the YouTubers or author tubers that I found helpful as I was learning more about self-publishing. And I have a goal of creating about 1 resource a month. These could be publishing plans that I send out to subscribers. These could be just any helpful information that might help another new writer get started on their journey to publishing. On the next page here, we have my merch or my gift goals. So another cool thing about being an author is that you have the option to design or have someone else design for you logos or graphics that can go on a sweatshirt, they can go on a mug, a sticker, and these can be products that your followers can purchase and kind of wear, cute like little items that might be fun to hand out as gifts. And so this is actually my business card that I had someone design for me. You can see I have my pug, some books, a cross on the front. This is like just an example of like a cute design I might want to put on some sort of merchandise that I can then link on my website and have someone buy. So just other ways for people to support you. So if I could maybe have 3 different designs or 3 different products on my website by the end of 2022, that would be really cool. Next, we're moving on to my other writing goals that aren't book related. So if you know anything about the publishing process, you'll know that it can take months, even as much as a year, to publish a book. And so I'd like to continue writing in addition to just working on my books. And so on the right-hand side, you'll see a category I like to call blog posts. So on my website, I do post. I've created 15 blog posts so far. I'd like to add another 15 by the end of 22 to have a total of 30 on my website. But these are just 1 to 3 page written little posts that people can read about various topics. I like to write about prayer, relationships, Christian living, liturgical year, just to keep myself writing and to be putting out other content for my followers to read and enjoy. Similarly, I also work on articles. These are similar to blog posts in that they're about the same length. They kind of address the same topics, but these are what I write for actual organizations, where I write these articles for magazines that are then published on their site. So it helps to get the word out to more people. I've written 21 articles to date. I'm hoping to add about another 12 or so. I'd like to get to about 33, add maybe 1 a month in 2022. On the right-hand side, I have what I like to call shorts, and these are stories, poems, or essays, just other fun, creative content that I can work on to keep myself writing. I've written and published 3 poems and a couple essays. I haven't published a single short story yet, so it'd be cool to write a short story in 2022. But just a small goal of maybe 3 or so of these, what I like to call shorts, I think would be fun to create. My next set of goals are learning related. I think it's super important to always be learning new things, always be growing in your knowledge. I learned so much just in 2021 about the whole world of self-publishing, and so I just have a couple goals to keep myself learning more. On the right-hand side, these are my editing goals. In addition to content creation and writing my books, I really enjoy editing other people's books, specifically proofreading, which is focusing on sentence level errors such as correcting grammar or spelling or punctuation. I had the privilege to work with 2 different publishers this year. I worked on a total of 7 projects. I'd like to add another 7 or so in 2022 to have a total of around 14 or 15 projects completed. And each of these projects is like a book or some sort of manuscript that I read through and provide editing, critique, and corrections on. I actually completed a 50-hour or so set of modules. It was a course from Proofreading Academy. And so I completed this, so I do have some credentials and sense of training and background, but I'd like to keep my editing knowledge sharp and to just continue to learn more in the coming year. Secondly, I have my reading goals. To be a good writer is to also be a good reader. So I'd like to read at least a book a month in 2022. If I can read more, that would be great, but at least a book a month to just keep myself learning from the books that I read. Okay, I don't mind sharing this next page, but on the right-hand side is just my total earnings goals. So as I mentioned earlier in the video, I do have a full-time job, so I don't just write and edit full-time. But I do have some goals nonetheless of earnings. So you can see in 2021, this is from my book sales, my editing projects, some of my articles that were paid. I made a total of $2,196. However, I only had a net profit of about $1,596. And this is because it took me about $500 or $600 that I had to spend on my own money to publish my first book. So this was what after I spent money on publishing my book, this is how much money I made. So I'd like to make for 2022 a total of $3,000. So that's comparing this number to this number and increasing $800 or $900 or so. After deductions of any other books I have to pay to publish, I might only make $2,500, but this is just some small growth in the category of earnings that I have. Last but not least, for my author business goals, I have a little note in my journal here to remember to celebrate my 1-year anniversary of really starting this self-publishing journey. So for those who don't know my story, in March of 2021, I got married and I also got laid off from my full-time job. So it was really at the start of April that I really began this journey of publishing my first book, putting together my website, my newsletter, working on those editing projects. And so April of 2022 will be that 1-year anniversary. So I just like to remember and celebrate that time. Now we're moving on to my just general life goals. So on the right-hand side of the page, I've got a couple here. One of them is to travel to Alaska with my husband. There's a week-long cruise that you can take out of Seattle, which is only 30 minutes from where we live. So it'd be super fun to take a vacation and be able to go to Alaska, which neither of us have ever been to. I also think it's important to exercise and to stay fit, and I like to run. So I have a goal of running a 10-mile race in 2022. I recently went for a run and I ran about 7 miles. So I'm getting there. If I can only run a 12K, which is about 7 miles instead of a 10-miler, I'll settle for that. But I like to just keep fit and keep active as much as I can. My third goal is to start graduate school. As I mentioned, I have my undergraduate degree in English, but I'd love to go back and get a master's in theology and to kind of meld those two interests of English and theology together in my faith books that I write. I also have a goal to have a backyard. Right now we're living in a townhouse and we have our little pug, but we don't have a backyard. So to be able to have a garden and let the dog out in the backyard would be a nice goal to have. I also have a goal to grow in couple and individual prayer with myself and with my husband, just learning about all the sorts of prayers that are out there and growing in that way in my faith. And then last but not least, I'd like to cook more meals at home because we do spend a lot of money eating out. And I think it would be good to just learn more recipes and be able to do some more cooking at home. Okay, last but not least, we have my future goals. So these are goals that I don't necessarily see in myself accomplishing in 2022, but they are goals that I like to keep in mind for the future. The top part are my business goals and the bottom are my life goals. At the top, we have to create a study course. This could be on writing or editing for someone to take the course and be able to learn more. My second goal here is to find other distributors besides Amazon. So my book is currently only available on Amazon, but I'd like to have it available on other platforms such as Ingram Spark. So I have to look into that more. I'd also like to create a book box. This is a gift box that you put together with a signed copy of your book and other little gifts that go along with your topics to send out to people that like to purchase them. Once I were to get more followers or subscribers, I could consider having a Patreon platform with different tiers of resources for people to pay to access. This may or may not happen, as well as a podcast may or may not happen. But I would like to be a conference presenter at either like a Christian or a writing conference and be able to speak on a topic and build community and meet more people would be great. And then last but not least, I have to be able to have a pet room, which goes along with a backyard, because if I have an actual house, which I would love to own a house one day, I could devote a room or space to all of my pets that I have. I have quite a few. And then last but not least, it's been a dream of mine to travel to Europe and see all the famous sites there. This would probably be a multi-week trip. Definitely we won't go this year, 2022, but perhaps in 2023 we could make it out to Europe. So this is my author bullet journal of all my goals that I have for 2022. And that's my 2022 author bullet journal. If you enjoyed this video and you'd like to see more content about Christianity, writing, editing, self-publishing, go ahead and subscribe to my channel below and like this video. But for now, I just wish you a very good new year. Bye-bye. Take care.